TV series brought to us by the MCU on Disney+. This one's starring Tom Hiddleston as Loki, and what occurred with Loki when in Avengers Endgame he took the Tesseract and escaped with it. And in this series, immediately after Loki escaped with the Tesseract, he gets captured by the TVA, also known as the Time Variance Authority. It's basically this organization that exists outside of the realm of time and space. They monitor what's supposed to be the flow of time, how everything's supposed to unfold, what's supposed to happen, and when something happens that is not meant to happen in the original timeline, they go and they immediately correct it. Loki escaping with the Tesseract, as we all know, is not meant to happen in the original flow of time. So now they're just like, okay, you committed a time crime, so now you're going to go into this prison and you're going to stay here and we're going to wipe away your mistake. Loki soon discovers, however, that there are a bunch of different other time variants that are occurring, that are affecting history. And soon he discovers that he's now given a new opportunity than rather be erased. He helps correct these mistakes with Mobius, played by Owen Wilson. And now we have what is basically a crime thriller involving time travel. So getting into what's great about the show. Tom Hiddleston as Loki is one of the best casting decisions Marvel ever made. This guy just kills it. He's eloquent. He's hilarious. He's one of the most unlucky characters ever, and it brings for some great moments. But I do really love seeing more of a range in Tom Hiddleston in this one. You see a lot more of a vulnerable and emotional Loki in this series. You feel like here is where he's finally beginning to realize that he has done some really bad things. He has been a bit of an asshole. You definitely see the most development in Loki's character here than you probably did in any other MCU movie. And that's not a knock against any of the MCU movies. This is just right here showing how Loki finally is becoming maybe who he's supposed to be. I also really liked Owen Wilson in this show. He's this TVA agent who's teaming up with Loki. He's basically the one who's trying to give him another chance. Owen Wilson we see in a lot of comedies, and he is funny in this show, but what I like seeing with him is when he has to turn on the drama, when he has to be a bit of a serious character, especially with Loki, and explain why Loki's in the situations that he's always in. You see more of a side to Owen Wilson that we're not used to seeing. It helps me see it's oh, okay, when you want to bring that side of you, you can bring it. I really like seeing the two of them really uncover more of time travel, like why situations work the way they do, why certain elements of time travel can work if they do things a certain way. The areas where they get a little bit more leeway that they wouldn't get that would affect the flow of time. It's smart thinking. It's areas that I'm just like, yeah, that makes sense. That's what I also appreciate with the show. When they explain time travel, or at least the way time travel works in the show, you buy into it. It's kind of like the scene in Back to the Future 2 where Doc Brown explains to Marty how different, timelines are created, and you buy into it. This show takes a similar route with that with its time travel. It never feels too confusing, which is great because time travel, when you don't do it right, can always feel confusing. We also discover in the show that there are different variants of different characters, particularly with Loki. One character we get introduced in particular is Sylvie, who's a female Loki that he kind of falls in love with. So yeah, he essentially falls in love with himself because, Loki has always been a bit obsessed with himself, so I guess it's fitting. I like seeing their chemistry too. I like seeing how in various timelines these Lokis have done something that affects the flow of time, and the TVAs come after them for it. She is among them. And I do really love the mystery in this show when it comes to the TVA, because there are certain areas, certain moments where things happen, you ask yourself, it's like, no, something's going on here. Something's definitely up. I love the mystery that's in the show because you are constantly guessing who it is that's really behind all of this. I will say, some episodes definitely move a lot faster or flow better than others do. There are a couple episodes, one in particular, that definitely felt like filler. I know you're going to bring up, well, every show in the world has an episode that feels like filler. True. But the problem is, when you have a mini-series, or at least a season, that's such few episodes, in this case only 6 episodes, there's not room for filler. Every episode needs to matter. Every episode needs to feel important. In this case, not everyone did. I guess I'm willing to give it a little bit more of a break because we do find out at the end of this season that we are going to get a second season of Loki, so I'm like, oh, okay, well that's good. But at the same time, it did feel like we dragged this out a little bit more than we could have. We could have filled some areas with other elements of the show that would have helped. I will say, we do also get our first lead into who is going to be the main villain of this new saga in the MCU. It looks like it's going to be Kang the Conqueror, which for me is cool, but it's also disappointing. I thought this season once again hints at Mephisto quite a bit, similar to how WandaVision did. So I thought we were gonna finally get Mephisto revealed. No, it's actually gonna be Kang the Conqueror, unless Mephisto's gonna show up at some point later in the MCU, which who knows, maybe he still will. I'll be interested to see what Kang the Conqueror does, and also if the version we get here is the version we're gonna get throughout the MCU, because I know Kang the Conqueror has different, I don't know, versions of himself, so I don't know, that could be interesting. And I will say, what I've appreciated with the MCU shows is they've all gone through a very interesting, particular level genre, you know? Falcon and the Winter Soldier was kind of a political action series. WandaVision was like a mystery thriller. In this case, it's a crime series that deals with time travel. Or an investigation series, I should say, that deals with time travel. So it's very cool with Loki and with these other shows that they're branching out to be more than just superhero shows. They are, you know, these very particular type of shows with superhero elements in them. And I think that's what's great. That's what's making the MCU a little bit more than what we're used to it being. But all in all, for the most part, Loki Season 1 was a hit. I thought just about every character in this show was necessary, was relevant, brought something to it. Loki had chemistry with a bunch of different characters. I liked the mystery that was going on in this show. I didn't really know what was happening, and that was the best part of it. It wasn't like WandaVision where you kind of suspect what is going on the whole time, especially if you know Wanda's character. In this case, I never really knew entirely what was going on. The development we get with Loki's character I think is great. I really like what it's setting up potentially for the rest of the MCU. I do think there were a few episodes that were definite filler, and I do wish we had just a necessary season through and through. But in the end, the way the show ends, I'm very interested to see what Season 2 could bring, because frankly, after this show ends, I don't know if we're going to see any more of Loki in the MCU. And I still want to see more of Loki. I'm not sick of his character yet. That's all I gotta say, guys. Thank you so much for watching my video. Don't forget to leave a comment, like, subscribe, and we'll see you all next time.